Hello, freaks, survivors, ghosts in the flesh. You weren't supposed to still be here, were you? No, you were supposed to fold. You were supposed to vanish under the pressure. They told stories about your failure before you even had a chance to speak. They carved your eulogy in rumors. They buried you in lies. They put dirt on your name while you were still standing. And now they're screaming. How the fuck? Are you still breathing? Because you weren't supposed to survive that storm? No one does not when the world turns its back and twists the knife. They gave you deadlines, death dates, expiration stamps, and still, here you are. They laughed when you broke. They whispered when you fell. They loved watching you bleed, and you gave them a hell of a show, didn't you? But what they never understood is that pain was your awakening, not your end. It wasn't your curtain call. It was your rebirth. Every scar they thought would define you, every rumor they thought would destroy you, just sharpened your teeth, just stretched your lungs until you howled back at the abyss, and it looked away. First, you became the thing they swore you'd never be. Not a failure, not a footnote, but a force. They mocked your dreams and called them delusions. They said you were done. They said you were a joke. But they forgot that some creatures don't die in the dark. Some creatures become the dark. They forgot that monsters aren't born. They're made. And you've been under construction since your first broken promise, since your first betrayal, since your first scream that nobody heard. And now you don't beg. You don't hope. You don't wait for mercy. You drag yourself forward with blood in your mouth and fire behind your eyes. They said you were over before you began. And now they're choking on your existence, gasping for explanations, trying to wrap their heads around your survival, like it's some kind of glitch, some kind of miracle. But this isn't luck. This isn't divine. This is war. This is you crawling out of hell on hands that shouldn't move, feet that shouldn't walk a heart that should have stopped. And you kept going because surrender was never an option. Not for you. Not for the ones built from chaos, from silence, from being ignored and laughed at and left behind. This is for the ones who hear whispers instead of applause, who get shadows instead of spotlights. This is for you, freaks, survivors, ghosts, demons walking in daylight. The world told you to die quietly, but you screamed anyway. And now, every rumor they started has become a hymn to your persistence, a dirge to their own weakness. You were supposed to be buried under doubt, but you clawed up through it with your teeth. And now every breath you take is a curse against everything that tried to silence you. They want to know how you're still breathing, like your existence is an insult. And maybe it is. Maybe you're the proof that their lies don't kill. Maybe you're the echo of everything they fear. A soul. They couldn't break a story that didn't end when they wanted it to. You're not a survivor. You're a reckoning, and they feel it every time your name is spoken. Every time your shadow passes. Every time you refuse to vanish. You've become the thing they don't talk about in the open. You've become the one who walked through fire and came out with flames, still clinging to your bones, not burn out, just burning differently. And they don't have a name for what you are anymore. They just say your name, like it's a warning, like it's a prophecy. Like if they say it too loud, it might summon you, and maybe it will. Because you're not done, not even close. You didn't survive for applause. You didn't crawl out of the grave. They built for you to seek validation. You didn't wear pain like armor, just to be pitied. You're still breathing, because you refused to stop, because death itself got tired of chasing you, because the weakness found no home in you. You're still breathing, because you made survival, your art form, your protest, your middle finger to every single person who thought they'd seen the last of you. So let them talk, let them rage, let the rumors fly, let them choke on your name in private because they're too cowardly to say it in public. Let them wonder how you're still breathing, as if breath is something they can take from you. Again, they tried and they failed, and now they live with the weight of that failure every single day. You wake up and keep going. You are a walking contradiction to everything they believe. You are the story that refused to be rewritten. You are the roar that came after silence. You are the ghost they couldn't bury. And every step you take is a funeral for their expectations. Every goal you hit is a gravestone for their mockery. Every breath you breathe is proof that they never had the power they thought they did. You weren't supposed to be here, and yet you are not as a shadow, not as a whisper, but as a full-throated scream. In the middle of the apocalypse, you are the storm. They pretended to survive, but never really faced. You are the wrath they whispered about, but never saw coming. You are the consequence of their underestimation and the reward of your own refusal to die. Keep breathing, keep breaking, keep building. Let them go mad, trying to understand it. Let them spiral, trying to erase it. You are already written in fire, already carved in stone. Not because they gave it to you, but because you took it. You are the author of your pain, the sculptor of your rage, the voice that won't go quiet, because there is no peace for the truth, only power, and you are made of it. They keep asking, how are you still breathing? Like survival is some kind of betrayal, like you weren't supposed to outlast the fire they set. But let them talk, let them scream, let them shake with rage, because your lungs still inflate, because your feet still move, because your pulse is a war drum that never missed a beat. And every beat is a reminder that their failure wasn't just temporary, it was eternal. And now, they have to live with it. You are the proof that they couldn't kill you, and they can't ignore you. You made it this far. Not because you were lucky, but because you were merciless with your doubt, because you stared down demons in mirrors and found ways to dance with the monsters under your bed. And you didn't run from your darkness. You folded it into your bones. You turned your fear into fire and your pain into prophecy. And now the world doesn't know whether to fear you or follow you, because you've become the blueprint for surviving the unthinkable. And they hate that they didn't see it coming. There's no glory in this kind of survival. There's no parade, no trophies, no applause. It's just blood on your teeth and dust in your throat and nights where you choke on memories and still get up in the morning. It's waking up with nothing and still daring to create something. It's standing in the middle of the wreckage and declaring that you're not done. It's being called delusional and still reaching. It's being seen as broken and still building. Because even if the world laughs, you don't flinch, not anymore. Not ever again. And that's what scares them, isn't it? It's not just that you lived, it's that you learned. It's that you got smarter, sharper, colder. It's that you stopped waiting for them to care and started making moves without permission. It's that you turned their betrayal into blueprints and their silence into sermons. And now your breath is the proof that resilience has teeth, and your footsteps echo like thunder through every room that once shut its doors on you. They said you were too much, too loud, too intense, too weird, too angry, too soft, too broken. And you wore all those labels like armor, like warnings, like war paint. And now they look at you and see everything they tried to erase. Still here, still loud, still alive. And it kills them quietly to know they couldn't bury you, to know they couldn't drown you, to know they couldn't even slow you down. You were never supposed to be their idea of strong. You were never supposed to be anything more than a cautionary tale a memory, a mistake. But you rewrote that script with your bare hands, and now every step you take is a defiance. Every breath you take is a revolution, and every time you speak, you shake the ground beneath their feet. Because your voice wasn't built for comfort. It was forged in fire. It was honed in isolation. And now, it cuts through the lies like a blade. And if they hate that good, let them drown in it. Let them burn in their confusion. Let them fall apart. Trying to understand how someone they thought was finished. Someone they counted out, someone they erased. Someone they mocked could stand taller than ever. Could walk into the room and make everyone go silent. Could take all that was meant to kill them and wear it like a crown. This isn't a comeback. This is a resurrection. This is a reckoning. This is you stepping out of the ashes with no apology and no explanation. Because you owe no one anything. Not your story, not your breath, not your scars. This is yours. And if they wanted a version of you they could control, they should have built one from scratch. Because the real you, the breathing, you, the dangerous, you doesn't play nice, doesn't bend, doesn't fade. And yeah, the rumors went crazy. They turned your pain into entertainment. They made jokes out of your suffering. They passed around your trauma like it was gossip, like it was currency, like it was something they could profit from. But guess what? They didn't see the cost coming. They didn't see the fire. They were feeding. They didn't realize that every rumor, every whisper, every cheap little word they spit out in secret was just fuel for the inferno. And now, the fire is walking and talking and breathing. And it's you. You're the consequence of their games. You're the answer to their cruelty. You're the storm they pretended they could control until it ate the sky. And now they look up, and all they see is you. All they hear is your name, thundering through everything they thought was safe and quiet and controlled. So keep breathing louder if it makes them uncomfortable. Could let your existence be the scream they can't mute. Let your survival be the sermon that haunts them. Let every success be a stone you throw through their glass-built lies, because you didn't come this far to be grateful. You didn't rise for forgiveness. You rose for blood, for honor, for truth. And truth never kneels. They don't get to define you, not anymore. Not ever again. They lost that privilege when they tried to kill your spirit and laughed while doing it. They lost that right when they watched you struggle and bet against you and smiled. And now they watch you walk past them and they stay quiet. Because even they know the beast they created is not one they can unmake. They made this. They crafted this monster. They summoned this shadow. They pulled you out of your skin and tried to call it justice, tried to call it fair. And now they see you back in your power, and they don't have the language for what you've become. They call you savage. They call you crazy. They call you dangerous. And finally, they're right. You are dangerous because you've got nothing left to lose, because your heart has already been broken, your soul already torn, your mind already sharpened by fire and time and pain. And now, you know how to survive anything. Now you walk into storms without blinking. Now you meet threats with laughter. Now, you've become the kind of person who doesn't just survive, who rewrites the entire damn game. They thought the rumors would break. You thought the voices would drown. You thought the pressure would pop your lungs and leave you gasping. Thought they could rewrite your story in whispers and shadows. But you swallowed every lie and spat it back out with venom. You turned every false word into armor, every betrayal into a weapon, every smirk into a reason to keep going. And now they can't look you in the eye because you're still here, still rising, still breathing in defiance of every story they told. That ended with you gone. They keep trying to figure out the secret, the hack, the trick, the spell that let you stay alive. They want to know how you didn't quit when everything screamed for you to fold. When you had nothing left, when the world turned to stone and left you in the cold. They want to know how you kept breathing when everyone was suffocating you with expectations, with judgment, with silence. And maybe there is no secret. Maybe you just decided to keep going, even when it didn't make sense, even when it hurt, even when your own mind begged you to stop, because somewhere deep inside, you knew this pain would pass, and the only thing waiting on the other side was power, and now you've tasted it. Now, you've become it. Now, there's no turning back. You've come too far. You've seen too much. You've bled too long to ever pretend you're soft again. And maybe you don't even want to. Maybe you like the edge. Maybe you like the way the fire dances in your chest. Now, maybe the anger that once kept you up at night is now your compass. Maybe you stopped asking for peace and started building your own version of it, made of grit and grind and battle scars. Because peace doesn't come to people like you, not handed, not gifted, not dropped in your lap. No, you had to carve it out of chaos. You had to earn it in blood. You had to drag yourself through hell to even see the edge of it. And now that you're here, now that you can breathe without permission, you realize you don't need the peace. They promised you, you don't need the world's comfort or its crumbs. You are the storm and you're enough. They'll never admit it, but you're everything they fear. Not because you're evil, not because you're wrong, but because you're free and they are still shackled to approval, still addicted to fitting in, still dying to be liked, and here you are, breathing like a curse against the order, breathing like you belong, even when they told you not to breathing. Like every moment is a middle finger to the voices that said stop, and every step you take is war against erasure. And yeah, it's exhausting. Yeah, you're tired. Some days, yeah, it still hurts. Yeah, the shadows still come. Yeah, the whispers still sting sometimes. But you're stronger now. Not unbreakable, not invincible, not perfect, but stronger. And there's something terrifyingly beautiful about a person who knows they can fall and still chooses to rise again and again and again. Because that kind of strength doesn't come from books or speeches or quotes. That kind of strength is born in silence, in darkness, in the lonely middle of nights when no one came. And you still stayed alive. You've become your own reason, your own savior, your own home. And they don't know how to fight someone who doesn't need validation, doesn't beg for belonging, doesn't ask for acceptance. They can't cancel you because you canceled their power. When you stop believing them, they can't control you because you stopped playing by rules they made to keep you weak. So let them shout. Let them spin their stories. Let them call you what they want. Because none of it sticks anymore. None of it matters. Because they don't matter. Not when you've become your own myth, your own legacy, your own legend born. Not from perfection, but persistence. Not from applause, but from survival. And you wear it like a crown, made of teeth and thunder and rage. You're not here to be palatable. You're not here to make them comfortable. You're here to break patterns, to burn blueprints, to take everything they said you couldn't have and make it yours by force if necessary. You're not here for permission. You're here for conquest, not of others, not of the world, but of your own soul, of your own fears, of your own past, And if that makes you a villain in their story, then fine. Let them call you a monster. Let them call you broken. Let them call you mad. Because the truth is they can't write a story without you anymore. You've become the plot twist. They didn't predict the ending. They can't swallow the chapter. They can't skip. And now your name carries weight. Not because you asked for it, but because you earned it. Because you survived the rumors, the sabotage, the silence, the chaos, and you walked out still breathing, still spitting, still standing. So when they ask, how TF are you still breathing? You tell them this. Tell them you made a home in the fire. Tell them you shook hands with rock bottom and didn't flinch. Tell them you learned to stitch your skin back together with spite and steel. Tell them every time they said you were done, you built a throne on top of the wreckage. Tell them breathing isn't luck for you. It's revenge. It's poetry. It's protest. And if they still don't get it, let them stay lost. Let them rot in the fantasy where you didn't make it, because reality is standing in front of them with scorched wings and blood in your smile, and you're not going anywhere. You're not shrinking. You're not softening. You're not slowing down. You're only getting louder, only getting stronger, only becoming more of what they can't handle. This is your era. This is your time. This is the version of you that was never meant to exist but does. Anyway, the version born out of every no, every failure, every disappointment, every heartbreak. And you don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're still breathing. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be undeniable, and you already are. They thought you'd disappear when the lights went out. Thought you'd vanish with the applause. Thought your voice would crack under the silence. Thought you'd fall back into the hole they dug for you. The second, no one was watching. But they didn't know what kind of creature you were. They didn't know that shadows were your birthplace and silence was your fuel. They didn't know that being alone doesn't kill you. It sharpens you. And now you walk like a storm with skin made of knives and a heartbeat that hums like war drums. You're still breathing because you refused to give them what they wanted. They wanted your silence, your surrender, your soul. They wanted to see you shrink into nothing to prove they were right. When they said you'd never last, but you didn't break, you didn't vanish, you didn't fold. Instead you bled, and you built, you shattered, and you sculpted. And now, the version of you standing here isn't just alive, it's lethal. And they feel that they taste that. Every time they see your name, every time they hear your voice, every time you refuse to disappear. You're not here to be pitied. You're not here to make them comfortable. You're not here to play nice or clean or quiet. You're here to devour the space you were never allowed to exist in. You're here to haunt every lie they told about you, every version of you they tried to destroy. You're here to breathe like fire, to walk like vengeance, to speak like prophecy, and they will hear you, even if it burns, even if it hurts, even if they try to drown you in noise again. Because now your silence is louder than their screams. They don't understand what it took to get here. They never will. They don't understand what it means to rise from ruins, to stand up with broken bones and still swing, to stitch your mind back together while the world watches and bets against you, to wake up every day with nothing but rage and turn it into motion, into action, into purpose they don't understand because they never had to. They were never meant to survive what you did. And that's why your breath threatens them, because it says one brutal truth they can't ignore. You lived and they didn't break you. And now they're scrambling. Now they're stammering. Now they're spinning stories to explain your existence because they can't admit that they were wrong about you, that you're not fragile, not weak, not disposable, that you're not what they said you were and never were. You were just unfinished, unpolished, unafraid to become. And now that you have, they can't touch. You can't even look at you without choking on everything they said behind your back, because you are the consequence. They never calculated. You are the retaliation of every quiet soul that dared to keep breathing. You are the retaliation of every unheard scream, every unseen bruise, every dismissed cry. And now you are a living contradiction to their expectations. You are not the cautionary tale they hoped you'd become. You are the myth breaker, the mold shatterer, the nightmare they can't explain away. So keep going, keep breathing, like it's a battle cry. Keep walking, like the earth owes you space. Keep speaking, like silence is a sin. Keep living, like survival is sacred, because it is, it always was. And now you are the shrine, the temple, the altar, to everything they thought couldn't happen, and you owe them nothing. Not clarity, not kindness, not explanation, just distance and thunder, and the sound of your breath echoing through their fragile narratives. You're still breathing because you made the choice every single damn day to fight for that breath, even when it burned, even when it cracked, even when the weight on your chest felt like a mountain. You kept going, not because it got easier, but because you got meaner, you got rawer, you got honest with yourself. And when you stopped pretending everything was okay and started building from the rubble, everything changed. You learned how to rise without being saved, how to walk without direction, how to build your own light from the ashes. And now you are untouchable. Not because you're untouched, but because you touched the edge and came back different, came back wild, came back dangerous, came back free. And that kind of power terrifies the ones who live for control. Let them fear you. Let them doubt you. Let them try and twist your story into something small, something shallow, something they can explain away. Because the truth is still burning inside you, and it doesn't need their belief. It doesn't need their permission. It only needs you. And you're already here. Already. Breathing. Already tearing through the lies with every step you take. This is your chaos. This is your crown. This is your kingdom built from scars and silence and survival. And no one gets to take it from you. No one gets to decide your worth or your future or your fire. They had their chance to kill you, and they failed. And now they get to live in the world where you exist, where you thrive, where you scream and shine and burn and breathe, and they can't do a damn thing about it. So the next time someone asks you, how the fuck are you still breathing? You don't answer with words. You answer by existing harder, by moving louder, by thriving so violently. It shakes the foundation they built on your downfall. You answer with your life, with your power, with your persistence. You answer by never going away, no matter how hard they pray for your silence, because you're still breathing. And that means the war isn't over. That means the fire still burns. That means the story isn't finished. And every breath you take is a reminder that you were never theirs to control, never theirs to destroy, never theirs to define. You are your own force, your own future, your own flame. And the rumors they started weren't a curse. They were a countdown. And guess what? The time's up. You're here. You're loud. You're breathing. And they can't stop you now.